Napoleonic Wargaming. Now, personally, I am pretty interested in strategy games. Like, for example, I would play games like Remilitaria Napoleon. And personally, I have been interested in purchasing Napoleon Total War, but I also love board games, like Monopoly. But I was thinking, I mean, as you can see here, this is Wargaming in the board version. And the reason why I always had interest in this, because look at the details of these figures. You got the Russian army here. It's all 3D and it's all nice and painted. And like, think about it. Just battles on a table. Historical or simply just for fun. I mean, yeah. So the question is, maybe I should buy these. Let me see. Oh, okay. Um, how much for Napoleonic for Napoleonic War gaming set? There you go. $25, $150? I can't afford that in 10 years. Wait, Epic bet 6 to 10 millimeter. That's kind of small. $35 to $50. Single regiment box 35 to 45. Starter sets for $130 or $145. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. All right, guys. I'm pretty sure you're probably this is gonna be a pretty expensive hobby if I'm ever gonna get into it. But hey, maybe there's another option. Yeah, another option. Behold, my Napoleonic Wargaming setup. Sure, it may seem small, but it's better than nothing. I use Legos I previously used for stop motions, and hey, I'm still going to use them for stop motions. But for now, we got our own war game. Now here's the plan. I'm just going to tell you guys how I'm planning to make this, and maybe I might be able to tell you guys how you can do it yourself. Because, think about it, let's face it. Say you ordered these Legos, and now are you saying come on, you don't really have to pay $150 $40 just to get these random miniatures when you already have Legos. So let's see how this. Let me just explain. Now, first of all, wargaming, they all have rules, and I've been searching some certain things, and I've been trying my own things, and mostly wargaming is turn-based, aka one player. They do their turns, and then after that, all their moves. It's kind of like chess, except let's say you can move pretty much everybody in wargaming. So, I'm not going to use a grid, yes, because I feel like a grid just feels kind of restrictive, you know what I mean? What I plan to use, I might make a grid version in the future. What I use is a ruler. How does that work? Well, say I roll a 6. And as you can see, I made my own rule book. It's not totally finished, but don't worry. I can still tell you what I dream for this to be. For example, moves 1 centimeter per 1 on the dice. So if I roll, say, a 6, I just take my ruler. I could use a tape measure if I want. Oh, this is Voltigers. Sorry, the skirmishers. I could take my ruler, just measure it, and go. Oh boy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, that's kind of cool. So we kind of got a system over there. And not only that, but I've also been getting some stuff on fighting. On how attacks work, how formations work. It's developing. So the first thing I'm probably going to explain is how I'm going to devise the infantry. First of all, get your ruler. Maybe, say you roll a 6, right? Now, obviously, we're going to have range, like how far you can shoot. I devised it, and get whatever you want. I picked 10 centimeters, because that makes sense. I don't know if it does. It's just, So say you take your ruler 0, and then you take it up all the way to 6. And would you look at that? there's an enemy across from you. Now, in order to shoot him, you got to place your ruler down, say, and see if you can see if he's within 10 centimeters of your range. 30 down to 10. Oh boy. He's not in 10 centimeters of your range. Say you roll another 6. That brings you down. Here. You're still not in range. And say you roll another 6 yet again, and your enemy just doesn't move for some reason. Yeah. See, now you're in range. There you go. 10 to 18. Now, what you can do is you gotta get a dice, and sadly, I know it's weird, but I don't have a dice. So, personally, I would take a phone maybe, or any extra gadget or anything. I would get a digital dice. Or I would try to find another randomizing method. Anyway, you got your British over here, right? And say, okay, you get your dice. I made a specific rule on this. When attacking a unit, this could be cavalry, but we're just using infantry as an example. When attacking a unit, roll 4 to push a unit back 2 centimeters. So say you roll 4. Yeah, right. Like that's what happens if you roll 4. You move them back 2 centimeters. And say you roll 5. You eliminate a soldier. Yeah, I feel like doing it this way will make the game nice and long, like a real battles. And then say you roll a 5, right? Say you roll a 6. You eliminate a soldier. And you push him back 2 centimeters. Now, I'm still devising why it is a bad thing to be pushed back 2 centimeters. But I can see why that's good for things like cavalry. Against things like cavalry. Because think about it. I made it so that, for example, you bring in the cavalry, right? Let's bring in the cavalry. The cavalry's coming to attack you. Let's say they moved here. Right? They're just 1 centimeter away from attacking you. Say you rolled a 6 and you eliminated one of their soldiers. Okay. Give me a second. You rolled a 6 and eliminated one of your soldiers, but you also pushed them back 2 centimeters. Because you did that, since you only have a 1 centimeter range, they have to roll again to try and get back to where they were. And if they don't, well, they miss another hit. So, it's somewhat good, but let's face it, I guess I could make better of it. Anyway, like I said, I also came up with this system. Before I show you it, I like to get into the other units. Like, for example, the Voltige. Now, personally, I didn't make this thing too special. I just made this thing so that, it's because, this is called, I made a skirmisher because I didn't want the British, aka the British skirmisher 95th Rifles. I didn't want them to be called under different names because who knows? Maybe people who have not a single clue about the Napoleonic Wars play this game. Although it is confusing enough that the uniforms are very different. So, how this is not a red coat. So, anyway, the Voltigeur I just made move 1.5. Maybe, they'll move 1.5 centimeters per roll. Just technically just 1.5 times faster than the infantry, which I think makes pretty good sense. And I might just double their range, because, hey, it's because of these Baker rifles. And I can't just let the French have worse range, no. Might have to do that for future games. No, for now, we're just going to have a simple, totally fair board game. Next, I got this nice big cannon. Now, I only have one cannon. I know it's weird. I said it at the start. I said my animations were low budget. I know. See, I believe you guys can believe me that I can't afford black powder products, so whatever. And I probably make the cannon maybe 3 times the range of the infantry. No, 5 times. Make it 50 centimeters. Yeah, it's pretty. You know what? Let's make it 30 centimeters because personally, this is the longest ruler I have. Remember, you can make it whatever you want. I suggest using a tape measure since it goes as far as possible. Screw it. I feel like 50's good. 50's good. 50 centimeters. Remember, you can make it whatever you want. I'm just showing you how to, how to set it up and stuff. Next, what I got is elite infantry. Yes, elite infantry. Like this Grenadier Company. And these Scots. Now, okay, maybe the Scottish. I mean, I don't know if the Scottish were actually better than their British English counterparts, but hey, I look at the Scots with a good light. I think they were very effective, so why not? Besides, I don't really have anything that counts as an elite British unit. I mean, all I got is for British infantry is Scots and British regulars. Yeah, goes for British line infantry. So, yeah. Now I made it so that this cannon is like very, very, very fragile. Like it could just come and get wiped out by this artillery like nobody's business. You know what I mean? Like no matter what the roll. So people can actually value their cannons not to put them in crazy spots. You know what I mean? Make sure they don't get overrun by Scots Greys or anything, or in his killing dragoons. So yeah, maybe just make them very vulnerable to infantry. Make them easier to defeat. Besides, there's only one cannon unit, so eliminate a soldier, this cannon's gone. Now I've devised some formations and stuff, maybe some states. Like for example, we're gonna put this guy in marching mode all day. Let's elite infantry say that, and say he stops right, and then he's in range of this enemy. Yeah, maybe some Scots. Give him some Scots as enemies, right? I've decided that he can't just simply just shoot. He has to go in firing mode, which means waste a turn, aka make ready, get information. No, I'm not entirely sure. You guys don't really have to do it. It's kind of hefty, but just have this little paper slip. It means firing. That means he can't just automatically move out there firing. Say, okay, he's firing, right? He has to waste a turn, and then he gets the firing thing. The next time the person gets a turn, he can now shoot with this guy because he's in firing mode. Now that and say this guy, the enemy's defeated or he runs away. Firing, he has to waste one more turn for them to stop firing and go back into march mode. And then the next turn, he can start marching his units. I have also devised a bayonet system, you know what I mean? Where, for a bayonet charge, like waste a turn, so then you'll fix bayonets. The next turn, you can start charging. And infantry, I think, should get like a 1.5 times speed boost. Like they move 1.5 times faster than they used to, aka they move 3 centimeters per 2 roll if they roll 2 on the dice. So, and yeah. Also, it makes sense that they could just absolutely destroy the cavalry, destroy the cannons. Not only that, but I've also devised a square formation against cavalry, because let's face it, I feel like the cavalry is a bit overpowered, right? So I've devised a square formation to add strategic value. So, there are going to be downsides and upsides to this formation. We're going to have, okay, so this is how you set it up. You got to, wait, give me a second. I'm going to get this guy, face him on the left side, right? So he's facing this way. Get this guy, face him this way. Have this guy face that way. But have this guy face, wait, give me a second, and have this random French soldier face the other way. Aha! See? So you have one guy facing this way, one guy facing this way, one guy facing that way, and one guy facing that way, which means they're all facing one way. So, and that's kind of how square formations work, you know what I mean? They were all facing in all directions so that cavalry couldn't just route them and, attack their flanks or anything, since they didn't, yeah. So, and I made rules like maybe if the cavalry tries to attack this square, the cavalry has to roll 6 to kill one soldier and thus, destroy the square, because look, this flank's unprotected. But if they roll like 3, 2, or 1, they will lose a soldier and be pushed back 2 centimeters, which I think is a fair rule. We can have super cool Waterloo infantry squares. How cool would that be? We can simulate the Battle of Waterloo. The problem with the square is that the range is gonna be shortened from 10 centimeters to 5 centimeters, which means it can only shoot 5 centimeters away, and it cannot move, which means it's a sitting duck. Now, I've also devised the small card system. Now, I've tried. This is not my first time I've ever tried to make wargaming. Okay, and I realized that it was kind of hard to tell which which thing you already moved and which haven't you moved. Because I've been playing some digital wargaming, especially online. Like I used to play World War II wargaming, and the computer kind of does the computer does it all for you. They do all the math and calculations and rules for you. But here, well, let's face it, it's up to the players. Now, you see, say I use, for example, line infantry. You got all these cards. One player gets all these cards. These are all his units, right? Say these are all his units, and I've made some pretty low quality interpretations of their looks. As you can see here, this looks horrifying. Line infantry. For example, we got to get line infantry 1. As you can see, I've made this little identification system. And I put like this little, I stuck this little 1 pad on it, as you can see here. And in order to move him, you got to give your card to, oh boy, you got to put your card, say, somewhere random where, you know, that means you don't have it anymore. And then you get to move this guy. Maybe make him shoot, or maybe put him in a mode, you know, waste a turn so he can become bayonet, or square formation, or firing mode, or march, or, you know, whatever. And then that means you get to keep track on who moved and who didn't. And then maybe say you use all these cards, and that's your turn ended, and it's the player's turn. You can get all these cards back for your next turn. And maybe if one of your units died, you can just throw it away. I mean, not like throw it in the trash. I mean, just, you know, get rid of it for the whole game. So yeah, I think I'm still developing the game. Like, before I'm done, I might make some special rules. Like, for example, the infantry can only shoot in front of them. For example, if the cavalry was to attack their flank, they cannot do anything about it until they rotate. Now, I'm still thinking about how this rotation is going to work. Personally, I was thinking about finding a way to... I don't want to make this game a geography math game. And then maybe they get attacked in their rear. I was thinking if you waste 1 turn, you can turn a full 180, which I think makes sense. So I was thinking if you waste maybe half a turn, aka your movement's cut by half, you take a full 90. I mean, I think maybe that's probably a good idea. Maybe you take a 90 to take full like this. Maybe on the angles. Sure, that's still math consuming, but hey, math's good for you. Anyway, like I said, I'm playing this on the floor because first of all, I can't find a big table, and just so you know, my desk is very messy. So yeah, I'll tell you if I get any new updates, if I come up with anything new. And yeah. Also, I did patch some bugs. Like, for example, say people just use the bayonet charge, for example. They just use the bayonet charge just to move 1.5 times faster and walk across the field very quickly. Well, I decided to come with a debuff for the bayonet charge. Like, say they just wanted to charge the enemy and then start shooting, right? But then they didn't even use the bayonets to fight the enemy. Say I just use that, and then maybe if they want to get rid of it, they have to waste 3 turns on 1 unit. I think that's a pretty good punishment for trying that. Well, meanwhile, if you do it regularly, well, let's say wasting 3 turns ain't so bad, don't you think? At least if you eliminate your enemy. And of course, I'm going to come up with a way to break morale. Like, for example, you know how you can only shoot or attack people when you're facing them? Well, say that if your enemy rolls some high number in the attack, I might use double dice for this because then I can have more possibilities. Say they roll something, maybe you lose a soldier, and then you take a full 180 as if you're retreating from morale breaking because the enemy did a very strong attack, very strong volley or skirmish on you. And even still, I might add some like more cavalry types, like maybe hussars, lancers, dragoons, maybe they can get horses and start shooting and become like line infantry. But yeah, it's still a work in process. Not to mention, I'm gonna find a way how to fit these guys in, these like commanders, like officers and stuff. So yeah. Also, not only that, I also hear a lot about wargaming having terrain, so I might find a way using paper to create like little graphs of forests, you know, for defense, or towns, or rivers, or mountains, or hills, or plains, or roads. So yeah, figure that out. I'll figure that out. Now, normally, I get these figures from Lazada, Shopee, AliExpress, whatsoever. I'm pretty sure you can get them on Amazon. But, I mean, let's face it, sometimes they can be a teeny bit expensive. Like, remember, These are meant to be like action figures, so they're probably going to be more expensive ratio to ratio between the expensive black powder that I'm probably not going to get anytime soon. You know, and sure, there might be cheaper, lower quality variants, but personally, I believe that if you're on a tight budget or you have some old kids' toys, I can give you some advice. You can always just use regular Lego bricks to represent battalions or their colors to represent the teams or the way they're shaped, or maybe you can put, I don't know, blue blocks on top of a blue block to represent a cannon, or maybe three blue blocks in a row to represent line infantry, or a blue black stacked a blue block stacked three times high as cavalry or whatsoever. Maybe you can have maybe yellow for the, I don't know, Austrians, red for the Danish, green for the, you know, the Russians. Um, I don't know who orange is supposed to be. Duchy of Nassau, and of course the French. And sure, some wargamers like to use hexagons because let's face it. I mean, there are I think two types. There's hexagons. There's a hexagon grid and a square grid. Now, personally, I actually thought that hexagon grids were more strategic, but I think they're both good because let's face it. I mean, the Napoleonic Wars, it was some very rigid warfare. Okay, at least the Austrians, the Russians, the Prussians, they all were about line infantry, lines and columns and whatsoever. So the square grid does make a bit of sense. You know what I mean? Since I mean, and the hexagon board, it's like a bit more friendly for like more modern warfare, like World War II or World War One. But still, I do feel like the hexagon grid is still good. I mean, you could use that too. Perfect movement, by the way. Besides, let's face it, going diagonally is going to be quite a hassle, I believe. It's going to be kind of weird. Like, how are you supposed to do that? Like, is it going to be like you're going to move here, and you need to go up here, and then up here, and then up here? You create like a little staircase that looks kind of weird. Meanwhile, the hexagon grid kind of has that for you. You just have just a straight B line. Anyway, guys, I think that's all I gotta tell you. I might make some more videos on this topic. Maybe I'm still trying to devise the game itself. I might try to play it with my family, see how it works, because who knows, I might still have to fix some bugs. And yeah, good luck. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys could also try and make your own wargaming, get some fun out of it. And yeah, remember, at the end of the day, you don't have to get the most expensive figures. You could use your imagination. You could just use pieces of paper colored red and blue, and then just draw your own grid. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? Just as long as it makes you have fun and gives you the feel. So yeah, guys, goodbye. See you in the next video.